What's up, guys? Rich here with Troubadour's Debut Delta Blue. And it's in 41 millimeters. It's 10.5 millimeters tall. And it uses a 20 millimeter bracelet or strap width. So I'm really excited about Troubadour's debut here in the Delta Blue because it's not often that we come across a watch that's made by a musician for musicians. And I just think that this has a really cool look, really great aesthetics, and it just fits incredibly comfortable on my wrist. So, like everyone else, I love music, but I'm not a musician. Although I did play the piano a long time ago, I'm still not a musician enough to understand the actual and functional circle of fifth bezel, which is really one of the stars of this watch. So instead of pretending to understand everything, I thought I would just read off what I learned about the circle of fifths. So the circle of fifths, in music theory, the circle of fifths is a way of organizing the 12 chromatic pitches as a sequence of perfect fifth. It's a bidirectional ceramic bezel insert, and you can turn the bidirectional bezel to line up the key with the scale degrees and instantly transpose the song. So if you're a musician, you understood what I just said. If you're like me, someone who just loves music but isn't familiar with the technical terms, it's still a really cool look to this watch. It's just really incredibly unique looking, and it definitely has a premium feel in the hand here. So I'm going to also piggyback off of what I just said by sharing a story from their website, because Shane, the founder of Troubadour Watches, was explaining how he came up with the concept. So he noticed the circle of fifth while reviewing his son's college materials on music theory. So he wanted to know what chords to play in a key without trial and error. And it goes to show that this is a functional bezel. So the circle of fifths was nice, he thought, but he felt that it needed to have Roman numeral analysis to be helpful. Also, the static orientation that was typically presented with C on top was awkward when you wanted to be in another key. So the circle of fifths needed to rotate like the bezel on his dive watch so the major key could be put at the top and align with Roman numerals on the dial. The minor key arc was later added so the relative minor key would align in the same position on the watch as the major key. This orientation also happened to be helpful when determining modes via the LIM-DAPL mnemonic. And again, if you're a musician, you'll understand what I just shared. If not, it's just a really cool feeling to know that this is actually functional. It's just, like a lot of us with dive watches, we don't really take our watches into the ocean and use it for those purposes. We use computers if we're a serious diver, but it's that same purpose, right? It's just a really cool look to this watch. It just has a really nice premium feel in the hand, and I really like the finishing. It has a nice contrast finishing here just underneath the bezel that is brushed, and you can see the polished accents here. So just overall, just a really sharp looking watch here. The lume is a C3 Blue Line X1 grade Superluminova. It has a sapphire front and back, and there's their trumpet logo on the clasp. And it reveals the automatic 28-24 automatic movement with 38 hours of power reserve, and it does allow for hacking. So there's their custom rotor that is consistent with the clasp and the rest of the watch. It also has micro adjustments on the clasp here. Just really well thought out, I mean. So it's water resistant to 100 meters, though it does not have a screw down crown. Instead, it's a push pull. And the bracelet here, I have not adjusted this yet, but I can tell it's not with screws. It looks like it's also a push pull instead. But overall, it just has a really sharp look to it. Just a really cool look, a really nice finishing. It's Swiss made. And I also want to share something else about this presentation, which is their box here. So it looks like it's a white, like a lacquer, like maybe a grand piano, and that may be a stretch. There was no mention of this. It's just how I feel about, because it would be consistent with the rest of the musical theme of the watch. And inside, again, like a black lacquer, like a piano finished black. And also has these, comes with these guitar picks. So just, consistently themed with this model here. So the Blue Note is an ode to jazz, and each of the other colors also have their own theme. It comes in Mojo Green, Delta Blue, and Midnight Jam. So each of those colors share a different story. I thought this was really cool to have this blue. You can see that dial sight, that sunray finishing on here. So the bezel, as I said, bi-directional, sign crown, really nice finishing. Just an overall, just really great aesthetics to this watch. It's just, I haven't come across something as unique and as this, and just really, really well thought out, and that serves a functional purpose instead of just a cosmetic purpose. The retail price of this is $799, which is another strength of this watch. For everything that we're getting here of the unique design, the Swiss-made watch, and the movement, I think $799 is a strength. It's certainly I would consider this more than a fair price for what we're getting. And you know, it just has a really, you know, I can't seem to sing the praises enough on this. A little bit pun intended there, but it just has that really sharp and unique look with the case design, their overall shape, and it just fits incredibly comfortably on the wrist. So if we're a fan of music, and I'm sure every one of us is a fan of music, or we understand the technical terms, either way, this is just a really great watch, and I think it's a really great conversation. It just has a really great story behind it, and it just looks sharp, which is the bottom line. It looks sharp, but knowing that it's functional and with a purpose, I think it's a watch that's made for more than just musicians. It's a watch that's made for all of us, but especially with a nod towards musicians. So if we're looking for that kind of watch, a diver's watch without the typical markings on the bezel that would indicate a diver's watch, instead it has these musical notes, I definitely think this Troubadour Debut is worth a closer look. It's just a really, really unique watch that I'm really excited about. Thanks for joining me, guys, and I'll see you soon.